Welcome. You're tuned into Tangled Threads. If you're digging our content, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. Hey y'all, I've got a story for you. It's not your typical revenge saga or a Reddit tale of sorrow. It's just my life, flipped in a way I never expected. I'm Joseph, and this is the story of how my wife, Sherry, cheated on me with our mechanic, and what I did about it. Sherry and I had been together for a long while. We met in college, hit it off instantly, and it felt like we were meant for each other. We got married a few years after graduation, and life was pretty sweet. We had our ups and downs, sure, but who doesn't? Our story really begins when our car started acting up. It was an old beater, but it was our beater. One day it just conked out. I'm no mechanic, so I called my dad, who's pretty handy with cars. He agreed to help out, but he couldn't do it until the weekend. That left us without a car for a few days. I had to take the bus to work, but Sherry needed the car for her job. So, she volunteered to take the car to the mechanic while I was at work. Seemed like a simple plan, right? Drop the car off, wait a bit, and then drive back home. Easy. The mechanic's shop wasn't too far from our place. It was run by this guy named Mike. I'd met him a couple of times. Seemed like an okay dude, a bit rough around the edges, but he knew his stuff when it came to cars. So, Sherry took the car to Mike's shop. I was at work, just going about my day, when I got a text from her saying the car would take a few hours to fix. No big deal, I thought. She said she'd wait at the shop and grab some lunch nearby. Fast forward to that evening. I got home, and Sherry was already there, looking off. I asked her how her day was, and she just broke down. Tears, sobs, the whole 9 yards. And then she told me. She'd cheated on me. With Mike, at the mechanic's shop. I was floored. I mean, how do you even react to that? I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. All I could do was ask why, over and over. But she couldn't give me a straight answer. Just kept saying she didn't know why she did it, that it was a mistake, that she was sorry. Sorry didn't cut it. Not for me. I was angry, hurt, betrayed. Everything we had built together felt like a lie. In a fit of rage, I told her to get out. I couldn't even look at her. Sherry pleaded, cried, but I was beyond listening. She packed a bag and left that night. I didn't sleep a wink. My mind was a tornado of anger, sadness, and disbelief. How could she do this to me? To us? I kept replaying the moment she told me, trying to find some sense in it, but there was none. The next day, I called in sick to work. I was a mess, emotionally and physically. But there was one thing I was sure of. I needed to confront Mike. I needed to face the guy who had slept with my wife. I drove to the mechanic shop, my hands shaking on the wheel. When I got there, Mike was sliding out from under a car, all greasy and oblivious to the storm coming his way. I marched up to him, my heart pounding in my chest. "Mike!" I shouted, my voice echoing in the garage. He stood up, wiping his hands on a rag. "Hey, Joseph, what's up?" "What's up?" I was seething. "You slept with my wife." Mike's face changed then. He knew he was caught. "Look, Joseph, I didn't let him finish. I swung at him, my fist connecting with his jaw. It wasn't a good punch, but it was enough to send him stumbling back. He recovered quickly and came at me. We were two grown men, throwing punches and grappling in a dirty mechanic shop. It was ridiculous, pathetic even. But at that moment, all my pain and anger were channeled into fighting this man. Eventually, we were both too tired to continue. We stood there, panting and bruised, staring at each other. I realized then how pointless it all was. Beating up Mike wasn't going to change what had happened. It wasn't going to heal my broken heart. I left the shop without another word. I drove around for hours, trying to process everything. My marriage was in shambles. My trust shattered. I felt lost. In the days that followed, I did a lot of thinking. Sherry tried to contact me, to apologize, to talk, but I wasn't ready. I stayed with a friend and took some time off work to clear my head. I realized that as much as I wanted to hate Sherry, part of me still loved her. But could I forgive her? Could we move past this? I didn't have the answers. All I knew was that I needed time. I also thought about Mike. I wasn't proud of fighting him. It was a moment of weakness, a lapse in judgment. I was better than that. I decided to go back to the shop a few days later. Mike was there, and he looked as awkward as I felt. I told him I wasn't there to fight. I just wanted to say that, despite everything, I didn't want any bad blood between us. He seemed relieved, apologized for his part in everything, and we left it at that. As for Sherry and me, it's complicated. We're talking, trying to understand what happened and why. I don't know if we'll stay together. Right now, it's one day at a time. So, that's my story, Reddit. Not a happy ending, not a tragic one. Just life, messy and unpredictable. Thanks for letting me share. Update. Hey Reddit, it's Joseph again. A few months ago, I shared my story about how my wife, Sherry, cheated on me with our mechanic, and the aftermath of that revelation. I received a ton of support from this community, and I thought it was only right to give you all an update on how things have unfolded since then. First off, Sherry and I are officially divorced now. It was a tough decision, but in the end, it felt like the right one. We both needed to move on and heal, and staying together wasn't going to allow that to happen. The divorce process was surprisingly smooth. I guess when things fall apart this way, there's not much left to fight over. One thing that might surprise you, Sherry didn't get any alimony. She actually refused it. Despite everything, I have to give her credit for that. She said she didn't want to take anything from me after what happened, and she's been trying to rebuild her life independently. We don't talk much these days, but from what I hear, she's doing okay. Now, on to my life. Guys, I won't lie, the single life has been pretty great, actually. After the initial storm of emotions settled, I found myself enjoying the freedom and time I had to myself. I've picked up new hobbies, reconnected with old friends, and even started hitting the gym more regularly. It's like I'm rediscovering parts of myself that I had forgotten about. I've also had time to reflect on what I want in a relationship and what I can improve on as a partner. This whole ordeal, as painful as it was, has been a learning experience. I've grown from it, and I think I'll be a better partner in my next relationship because of it. Speaking of which, I'm actually considering dating again. It's a bit daunting, to be honest. The dating game has changed a lot since I was last single, and I'm not exactly a young college guy anymore. But I'm excited about the prospect of meeting someone new, someone who shares my interests and outlook on life. I've been dabbling in online dating, and while I haven't met the one yet, I've had a few fun dates. It's nice to get out there and connect with people, even if it's just for a coffee or a walk in the park. I'm not rushing into anything serious. I'm just enjoying the journey and seeing where it takes me. So, that's where I am now, Reddit. Life threw me off, but I managed to catch myself and get on track. I'm in a good place, feeling optimistic about the future. Thanks again to everyone who offered kind words and advice when I first posted. It really meant a lot to me during a difficult time. Here's to new beginnings and the unexpected twists and turns of life. Cheers. Jesus, this woman is an idiot. I mean, seriously, I don't think I've read a single one of these stories that ended well. Anyways, let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled threads.